Aloha, welcome to my channel. You are your own beloved. My name is Soulfire. Yes, that is my real name. This is how you're going to get me almost all the time. Just out of the ocean, hair still wet. I don't usually wear makeup, probably oily from the beach. All natural, no filters, no real editing, just the basics. And I'm just going to speak to you, no teleprompter. I usually just I'm open to whatever is going to come through me to share from my heart to yours. And that's that's my style, that's my vibe. For those of you who don't resonate with that, feel free to move on. No hard feelings, but this is who I am, and I have to be true and authentic to myself first and foremost. This is part of my divine purpose to being here on the planet now. I am here as a spiritual teacher of the awakening consciousness to help humanity ascend to their higher consciousness and wake up and remember who they truly are, take back their power and their life. So this is my role, and I'm here in service to you. So I could very easily just live a very simple life here in Hawaii. Beautiful life. I live right across the street from the beach where I can swim and surf and paddleboard and dive and snorkel every single day of the year. It's just my greatest joy. This island is beautiful if you're a nature lover, and if you like to be outdoors, this is the most amazing island to do outdoor stuff. And I could live and not be involved in this whole crazy era of the internet and AI and social media and YouTube and all these platforms, which I don't particularly like, to be honest. I went off social media for 4 years, and it was like the best time in my life. I was peaceful. Mentally, I was so calm and present. I wrote my second book during that time, made another ebook, came up with a video portal. But then, I know it's not my purpose. It's not my purpose to just hibernate and live my life for just me. That's not my purpose. I came here for you. So with that said, here I am, and I really wanted to share my experience moving to Hawaii from New York, and I think you'll just get my perspective and my experience, which I think is very unique. So for those of you who don't know me or my story, I'm not going to get into my whole life story. That's why I wrote two memoirs, Fearless Freedom, Becoming Soulfire, and You Are Your Own Beloved, which, trust me, they're very interesting. I have a lot of very interesting life experience and a lot of wisdom behind that, because I could just kind of give you a summary. My life was full, every chapter of my life was basically full of heartbreak, despair, suffering. From birth, from how I came into the world, till pretty much to 50 years old, into my early 50s. Okay, so that's a lot of life experience, right? But I didn't stay in the darkness, I didn't stay in the suffering. My life represents me being triumphant, me being able to overcome the obstacles, being able to transmute the pain and the suffering into healing, into wisdom, into light, and then offer it out into the world. And that is my whole divine life purpose. Transmuting the dark to the light, creating new energetic pathways for others to follow, sharing it, guiding others who are interested in going along the spiritual journey as well. That's it in a nutshell. Right now, at this phase in my life, I am in a brand new phase for myself, which is becoming the multidimensional being, or the hybrid human multidimensional spiritual being that I am, that we all are, becoming the master of my reality. In other words, consciously creating my reality, like being able to consciously do creation. That's where I'm at now. It's more of an exciting, fun part of my life and journey, which I'm not going to get into in this video. But the other part of my life, so the last 50 plus years, was more about transmuting and working on the four lower bodies, our physical, mental, emotional, and etheric bodies, being able to bring them into balance and harmony. So then could rise up into my higher chakras, into my higher consciousness safely. And one of the things, I know I'm digressing a little bit, but one of the things, and I can't help that, as I speak to you, there's like 10 million stream thoughts coming through my head, and I'm trying to pick and choose which one I'm going to focus on and speak and share with you. But this is an important one. I know a lot of spiritual seekers that do not balance and harmonize their lower triangle. When I say lower triangle, it's the lower three chakras. They just want to go right into the, I want to open up my third eye and just be in my higher consciousness. But there's danger to that, because there's a reason why we came here to be physical. We came here in a human body for a reason. So we can't just ignore our human body. We can't ignore our physicality and just bypass and just be like, oh, I'm going to go into my spiritual upper chakras. No, we must balance the four lower bodies and find balance in the lower triangle and really be rooted within our own being first before we can safely raise the kundalini and open up the higher chakras. Does that make sense? Because without it, then you can become very mentally imbalanced. So, with that said, I'm going to bring it back to Hawaii. So I came here because I wanted to work on my spiritual evolution and finish my second book. But I also had this fantasy in my head, because being a Pisces and having that aspect of me, like I could just be in that like imaginative, dreamy mind, like go off, you know. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go to Hawaii, and this is gonna be land of paradise, and I'm gonna meet my merman, and this island is gonna save me. It's the land of abundance and paradise. You know, I had this whole fantasy mind loop going on, and when I got here, it was boom, like the complete opposite. Like it couldn't be more opposite. And it was just like, I'm not going to get into every story because I wrote a second book, You Are Your Own Beloved, which is a lot of it is based about my experiences here in Hawaii. But I mean, for those of you that are from the Big Island or know, or are transplanted and moved here, you know, like she calls you. When the island calls you, you can't ignore her. And then when you're here, you really need to own your shit. You need to like be responsible for your energy and your stuff. You can't just blah, be a complete mess, projecting it out everywhere. Like this island will chew you up and spit you out. Like there was times where I was like, maybe I should move back. Like maybe I shouldn't have been here. I mean, it was gnarly. So, and I'm pretty like work on myself all the time, you know. So I'm responsible and accountable for my energies. But yeah, it's intense here. And so I had a lot of experience. I came here as a renter. I've been a renter my whole life. I was a single parent. I mean, again, not to get into a whole story, but I was a single parent. I raised my daughter by myself on Long Island. It was very challenging. I lived in survival mode my entire life, raising her. I used to be a financial consultant. I worked in the World Trade Center. I worked on Wall Street. I did the whole thing. I quit because it's not something I never really wanted to do, but it was too stressful and I needed to be more present for my daughter. But I lived in survival mode in the rat race from month to month. And I knew like buying a house, I would just have a mortgage over me and it would just be like a death sentence to me. It just felt like, no. For me, I wanted it to be free. I wanted to live a simple and free life And I was already stressed out in survival mode, and to just get a house, that just seemed like way too much for me. I mean, if I had a partner and like he wanted to buy it, fine. But like for me on my own, it was way too much. So I always was a renter, and I enjoyed it. And everywhere we moved and rented, we'd stay for a long time, usually like 4 to 7 years, and it became our home. So when I moved to Hawaii, like I basically had nothing at this time in my life. Like yeah, and I was a renter. And actually, my daughter moved here first. She came in 2017 as a woofer. So if you don't know what woofing is you can get free room and board if you exchange that for a few hours of work. And usually it's like somewhere on a farm or some kind of community that they need help with. So my daughter came as a woofer, and she said, Mom, you're going to want to move to the Big Island. So I have to back up a little bit. So the first time I came to Hawaii, it was actually Oahu in the year, I think it was around 2000. And I came to visit my brother who was in the Army stationed in Oahu. Came with my daughter, fell in love with the island, said, oh my God, this is where I'm supposed to be living. And the reason why I said that is because I was adopted when I was about 4.5 and went from Brooklyn to Long Island. And the family that adopted me was blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, German, Irish. And then there was me. I had really dark hair. I was a mix. I don't know. I only know half my nationality. So I got teased and picked on in my entire life. People made fun of me because of my eyes. They called me chink, Jap. I mean, just constantly made fun of me. I had no self-esteem, no self-worth. And I got made fun of even as an adult. Something like, it wasn't even just like because kids do that. Yeah, no. As a grown-ass adult, adults would make fun of me. And that's how pathetic some areas of Long Island and the consciousness people were. And I was like growing up in white suburbia Long Island. And so when I first came to Hawaii, I was like, oh my God, everybody was so nice to me. And I blended in with everybody. I looked like everybody else. And I was so grateful. It was the first time in my life. I was like, oh, everybody thinks I'm one of them. And I would get I was like, how much does this cost? Oh, we'll give you the resident price. People thought I was Hawaiian. And I was like, wow, this is so nice. I've never been treated so well in my life. Like my soul felt safe here. And I thought one day I want to move back. And plus, I'm an island girl. I'm an ocean island girl. That's it. The ocean is my happy place. I need to be in the ocean. You could be in the ocean here 24/7 every day of the year if you want. In New York, you only get to be in the ocean 3 months out of the year comfortably. Otherwise, it's so cold. So I went to visit my daughter in 2017. She said, Mom, you're going to want to move to the Big Island. And I said, no, honey, I'm going to move to Maui. Pretty sure Maui is because it's the heart chakra and I want to live there. She's like, okay, Mom, well, come visit. Came to visit her Christmas of 2017, and she was right. I fell in love with the island. As soon as the plane landed, I felt it. It was, oh, I've just entered into a new dimension. And it was higher. I was like, oh. And the only other time I ever felt that, like that palpable energy, and I'm an energy healer, so I'm really into the energy. The only other time I felt that was when I landed in Costa Rica. I was like, oh, we're in another dimension. Energy, so good. Same thing here. And I got off the plane. I was like, whoa. I just felt it. I was just like, whew. And that's what it is. When this island, when she calls you, it's like, whew, she just embraces you and takes you in. And so my daughter was right. I fell in love with the island. And when I went home on New Year's Day, 2018, I made a vision board, and there's all pictures of my trip to the Big Island. I prayed over it and I said, get me there as soon as possible. Hung it up on my wall and then just kind of let it go. And by October 1st, 2018, which I did not plan it at all, I was on a plane moving to the Big Island. 9 months exactly. Couldn't believe it. I sold everything, left my life, my clients. My clients were like, what? I mean, some of them were crying. I was crying. It was really hard. But my daughter was here, and I was moving with Karma, my best friend. She was my four-legged best friend, who I'm going to do a whole another video series on her. But I moved her with me, and that was stressful, my God, because Hawaii is so difficult to move with your pet. It costs so much money. You have to jump through so many hoops to get through, because rabies and all the laws here, and if anything goes wrong, they'll take your pet and put them into quarantine for 120 days. And I was like, you know what? I will never let them take Karma and put them in quarantine. If they do that when I get there, I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to fly right home to New York. Absolutely no way. So when we moved, oh my God, it was so stressful, the plane, and then like changing in LA. And this is how you know, like, your angels are always with you, and like you're just following your path, the right path. We had to switch planes in LA, and of course it's a long flight, and I had to bring Karma to use the bathroom. And so she didn't want to go in the airport. They had this special room with fake grass, and Karma was like, I'm not going on this fake grass. What? So I had to leave the airport and bring her outside, and then come back in and go back through security. And the line was like, it was a sea of people, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to miss my flight. And it was like I'm moving to Hawaii. It's not like it was just like a flight of vacation. It was like my whole life was moving to Hawaii, and I'm going to miss it. And I was starting to freak out. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, I was standing there, like, panicking, and some angel walks up to me and says, I'm not kidding you, hi, ma'am, do you know today is National Bring Your Pet to the Airport Day, and we could get you right through security. Would you like us to do that? And I looked at them. I was like, what? Like, really? Sure. Come with me. And they brought me in front of the whole entire line and brought me right through security. I was like, is that for real? Or is that just like divine intervention, AI, angel intervention coming to save me? Which I think it was. Okay. Landed in Kona. Have to go into the office is a big thing. They bring a vet to come as another $250 fee. Check out your dog, your pet, look at all the paperwork. You got to make sure. I mean, it's just like so much paperwork and tests, crazy, so stressful. And she's looking at the letter, and she says to me, the letter from your vet is not dated. I go, oh, like, I start to feel like the ground, like, going out from underneath my feet, because it had to be like she had to have her rabies shots within like 30 days. It was very specific. There was no date on the letter. And I looked at her, and I was just like, I think I'm going to pass out. Like, and she said, I'll make an exception. And I was like, oh my God, that was two divine interventions. And so here we are. And then it goes on from there. And my daughter brings me to this rustic cabin. At first I was like, ooh, I'm living the life, you know. I'm like, I ended up in Waiohinu. For those of you who are not familiar with the Big Island, Waiohinu, it's like down by Nalehu. It's like middle of nowhere. It's beautiful, so beautiful. But like, you're in the middle of nowhere. There's like no people around. And I'm in a rustic cabin, which means rustic, I learned something. It means there's no walls. So like bugs and mosquitoes. I'm sleeping under a mosquito net on my bed. Like, I can do this. I'm in Hawaii. But that didn't last very long. I only lasted like 3 nights there. I was like, I can't do this. I could just go on with the stories. Like, I could just make video after video, because they're really comical. I wrote about a lot of them in my book. Okay, I'm just gonna go on with the next, and then I'm gonna continue on with what this island has taught me. So the landlord had another rental on that same property. He said, do you want to move to the treehouse? And I'm thinking, yeah, I want to live in a treehouse. He says, it has walls. It's all glassed in. I'm like, yay, a house with walls. Okay. So I moved to the treehouse, and every place I go, I have to clean like a crazy person for like days. I've been like cleaning with toothpicks, and it's crazy. So I cleaned that treehouse for a week, and it did have walls. Like you said, he wasn't lying. But my daughter said, Mom, you're probably not going to want to live in the treehouse because the rats that crawl across the roof at night, it was a clear roof, are really disturbing. And the trucks that drive along the highway at night shake the entire treehouse. I was like, no, I could do it. I'm living in this treehouse. I got a sound machine. I don't care about the rats. I'm good. Well, that sound machine didn't do shit. Those 18-wheeler trucks would come down the highway all night long, and the whole thing would. And then I look up, and there would be these huge rats with these long tails crawling across the roof. I was like, oh. It's like, oh gosh, she was right. And then my dog Karma got some allergic reaction so bad that she was just like in so much pain, and there was no vet. The closest vet was an hour and a half away, Hilo, and then you couldn't get an appointment. And it was like, in order to get an appointment, my landlord had to call and beg them. I think he gave up his appointment, and so I was able to like go there. And I remember I called my brother, who was my spiritual guide, and I was telling her about like what was going on, and I was crying, and she's like, I remember her response. I was like, the nearest vet is an hour and a half away. I have to drive. She's like, oh my God, that's crazy. She's like, where do you get your hair done? And I was like, what? Who cares about your hair? Karma's dying. Like, it's just so, it was so comical because my best, she's my bestest, closest friend, but her and I are complete opposites. She's like complete glamorous, beautiful with her hair and makeup. I mean, she's gorgeous. And I'm like the opposite, no makeup, don't do my hair. I didn't even own a brush till a few years ago. So like we're the complete opposite. It's so funny. So she's like, oh my God, that's horrible. Where do you get your hair done? Like, I live in the middle of nowhere. The only thing town is an Ace Hardware store. For real. And so anyway, one day I'm doing yoga on my mat and I look up and there's a little mouse looking at me. I'm like, oh my God. Now they're inside the house. Okay, it wasn't a rat, thank God, it was a mouse. And then it would rain so hard that it was just so loud. You're just like, it sounded like it was just raining in your ear. It was like, because also the roof was made up of some type of clear plastic. And one night I was like sitting there trying to like watch a movie, and I had the TV on the highest it could go, and I was sitting in front of the TV and I couldn't hear it because the rain was so loud. Then all of a sudden I hear boom, like a gunshot, and I was like, I text my landlord. I was like, Greg, oh my God, I think the neighbor just shot something. And he responded, he goes, no, that was an avocado falling on your roof. I was like, oh my God, this was so with. It was so stressful. I was like, I have to go. And I said to brother, she's like, where do you want to live? And I said, I want to live in Kona. She's like, well, just get a hotel. Just pack up your stuff and go and treat yourself to a hotel. Anyway, she didn't realize you can't do that, especially with a dog here. And that was how I first came to the island. And it just got worse from there as far as being a renter and the crazy landlords that I had to deal with. When I'm talking crazy, I mean, and these people are like older than me, like in their 60s, and they, men and women, didn't matter, acting completely nutso, doing crazy nutso things. I had to get the police involved to get my stuff back. At the one place I lived, the man lied and said I never lived there. I mean, it's crazy. Then I had to go to court 3 times with another woman who lied and said I stole the furniture and I never paid her rent. I had like copies of the canceled rent checks. I mean, I went to court with her 3 times. Then I had another thing this year with a neighbor upstairs, just crazy stuff. I mean, you don't understand. Like, renters that come here, people that move here, transplants from the mainland and are renting, you totally know what I'm talking about. It's not so here. And so what I really had to learn was that, number one, I need my own space. I can't be like living with somebody, the landlord, or sharing space. Can't do that. My energy, like my heart being so open and so full of so much light and love, that very imbalanced people that are here will be drawn to that, but then they're manipulative and they'll like drain my energy or try to manipulate me and gaslight, project. Oh my God, there's so much gaslighting here. It's crazy. Like, okay, so you start to be like this. And there was a time when I was like, that's it. I am not going to be my loving, giving, kind self. I'm just going to close my heart. I'm not going to be nice. I'm just going to not be a giving, kind, loving soul. When what happened was it was harder and it took more energy for me to be who I am not than just to be myself. And then I realized, I said, you know what? The truth is, and I had to really come to terms with this. The truth is, when I give to somebody, I'm not giving for them. I'm giving for myself. Like, let's not be this martyr, like this martyr archetype and think that you're just doing this as an unselfish thing. It's actually, you're giving, it's for yourself. And that's really the truth when we give, because when you give authentically, at least when you're giving, I'm not saying like manipulative giving, I'm saying just because you authentically want to give, it's for you. And at least for me, it brings me so much joy to give to someone and help someone. And I had to say, like, yeah, it's for you. So because if they didn't receive it, or if they weren't appreciative, or they didn't reciprocate, or if they were like negative or angry toward me, I'd have to just forget that and say, like, it's not about them anyway. I'm giving for me, and that I'm doing it for me because that's what my soul wants to do. And so once I was able to process that and come to terms with that, I was like, oh, I'm just going to be myself. And if I feel like giving and I want to help somebody, I'm going to do it. And if they're not nice to me or they don't care, that's okay. I'm doing it for me. So I learned that. I also learned that I had to really speak my truth and stand up for myself here. And I learned that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And there's a lot of imbalanced people here. I think a lot of people move here because, in a way, like how I first came, like, oh, I'm coming to this land of Hawaii and it's going to save me. It's going to be where I'm going to, be healed, and it's paradise. And it's like, if you're not doing the work, like if you're not living in aloha and take responsibility for your energy and what you're putting out into the world, if you're not giving back, if you're just taking, and then being a dick, you're going to get your ass kicked, and then she's going to kick you off the island. Like, it doesn't work that way here. And you learn that very fast. And even though I was working on myself so much, and I was conscious of all that, I still got my butt kicked over and over and over again. It's because she was like, okay, what are you going to do? Because I don't like conflict. So I want everyone to be peaceful and get along. So when there was starting to be conflict, I would kind of avoid it because it's not what I like. I want just everyone to get along. Then you learn, like, okay, after a while, you're like, all right, I can't be a doormat anymore. I have to stand up for myself. I don't like it, but I have to do it. And that's what this island has given me. That's what she's taught me. She taught me to stand up in my power and in my truth. But before I could do that, I had to find that within me. I had to find my rootedness, that my source, my center of power and strength was within me, that my home, my true home, was within me. And that's what I found after 9 months, I moved here. 9 months later, I came here and I was meditating every day. I was just like in the zone. I'm going to evolve in my spiritual consciousness. And it was just like craziness. And then finally, after 9 months, I had this spiritual awakening. And this is like I don't take anything. This is just me, just tuning in with my own power and my will to know that I could do it. And I had this spiritual awakening that home was within me. And it wasn't just an intellectual knowledge, something that as a yoga teacher I've heard my whole life. Every yogi says, home is in your heart. All you need is within. What did great master Jesus say? The kingdom of heaven lies within. It's like, yeah, I get it, but where? I mean, what do you mean within? Like, how do you access that? Like, I want that. How do I get there? And then it happened. It happened here in Hawaii. And it was just this one day I had been meditating, and it was so hard to describe it. It's just kind of like this, and then you feel it in your heart, and then into your whole entire body. It just went. I was like, wow. I cried, I laughed, I danced, I jumped. I was like, oh my God, I am my own home. And then I felt it in my body so strongly, like I never felt before. When I walked differently. When I carried myself differently. I was like, oh my God, I never want this feeling to go away. I felt so rooted in my body like I never felt before. And that's when I went back to Long Island, and I got downloaded the Soul Fire Awakening, which is an energetic sequence of 11 poses that aligns you with your light body. And it's my signature energetic sequence that I share on my app. And that helps you to be in alignment with who you truly are. And so I received that, and then I stayed in Long Island for a few months. My clients were so happy I was home. It felt so good to be around my friends again and around familiar. And then she calls you back, I was like, I have to go back to Hawaii. I mean, I remember when I left Hawaii and I was flying back to Long Island, I was crying at the airport. I didn't want to leave. And then she called you back, and I was like, I gotta go. I came back, and I have not left since. I've gone to the other islands, but I have not left Hawaii in 6 years. Just I haven't had the desire. I mean, maybe next year I will travel, but I've done so much work here on myself, and I just feel, I don't know, it's so hard to explain. Only people that are here, like, it. It's just like, it's like you're always being like embraced and loved here. Although it's really challenging and it's really hard, but yeah, she made me just stand in my truth and speak my truth, and over and over again. And I was being bullied really bad, and my neighbor upstairs. And just this year, I mean, like, come on, like, when is it going to end? Like 7 years of this. But just this year, I had to go through something major and I mean, it was bad I was trying to be compassionate and tolerant and understanding and kind and nice and all the things, that as a spiritual being, you want to be loving and compassionate, especially to the elderly, blah, blah, blah. But there comes a point where it's like, okay, brah, listen, okay, you may be hard of hearing, but I also need to get a good night's sleep. I also deserve peace and quiet where I live. Like, I have the right to live peacefully. Like, you can't like constantly be this freaking loud like every single day, bro. Like, when he started bullying me and threatening me to like take me down, like ruin my life, that's when I lost it. And like, trust me, I'm like kind and compassionate, loving, giving. But there's a point where something will just switch in my brain, and I'm literally like borderline, like no control over myself. And that's what happened. And one day, he just went a little bit too far, threatening me. And that thing clicked, and I went running after him down the hallway in my bikini, just dripping wet, just came out of the ocean. You will not bully me anymore. You mess with the wrong person. I screamed so loud. I think I screamed for every timeline. And what I learned was afterwards from my guides was that incident collapsed my Akashic records instantaneously. All the timelines that were live wires still in my auric field, all my Akashic records where I was still playing subservient. My light was being diminished. I was being shushed. I just, in that one moment, let it go, man. And it was like unbelievable. And when I got quiet and I meditated after that whole thing, I realized, wow, like, he was really a gift to me, because I was able to speak my truth. And that was like, it was like Pele was coming out of me. Like I was like a fire breathing dragon. That's what I felt like in that moment. I was definitely channeling Pele. And it, if my words could be fire, they would have been fire for sure and burned him to a crisp. Like it was serious. I've never screamed like that in my life. And so yeah, I needed to do that. And you know what? He actually that evening he went to the store and he got headphones and started wearing them every night at 8:45. He puts them on. Since then, so I did something, and he got the point. Too bad he had to push me to that place. But that's the thing here. I feel like there are a lot of imbalanced people that move here, and they almost like they expect like to get something from the island, but without giving, and that's wrong. And that's not going to happen here. Your life is just going to be miserable that way, or you're not going to make it. And I had to really learn how to stand in my power. And I transmuted so much here. I've spiritually grown and evolved so much here that I'm in the next rung of my conscious evolution. And I'm going into this third book and phase, which I'm going to hopefully be sharing on my app in 2026, which is just a few months away, is how to be the master of your reality, like all the other masters that walk the planet. Not just haphazardly create, but be consciously creating your reality, mastering your reality, like mentally, emotionally, energetically mastering your reality. That's what the phase that I'm in now, which is a lot more fun than the first two phases where I had to transmute the four lower bodies, the physical, mental, emotional, etheric body. I had to find balance and harmony with those, my lower triangle, so that I could also, I worked a lot on my heart. So the lower three chakras in the heart, so then I could rise into my upper divine higher chakras in my soul star oversoul, right? The stellar gateway, all the higher chakras, so then I could be my multidimensional hybrid spiritual human self. That's where I'm at now in my growth and development, and it's exciting. So this island and Hawaii has for sure given me so much, and every day I try to give back in every way I can. I do something every day, something kind, something giving. That's just who I am. It comes naturally to me. It's like that's who I am. And I think because I have that aloha spirit, I've gotten so much back from her. I mean, so much. She supports and loves me so much and allows me to do my work here. And I'm so forever grateful. And I wanted to say that one more thing about the people here, and I did write about this in my second book, but I was really blown away by the aloha of the people here. And I'm not talking about the transplants, I'm talking about like the people that are locals or were born and raised here. They have so much aloha and they're so kind. They're some of the kindest people I know, and that's what keeps me here as well. And it's not just about their aloha spirit. It's the fact that I know their stories, and so many people have suffered such heartache and despair and such trauma, and not just in this one lifetime, but lifetimes, like generational trauma that they carry with them. I mean, look at the history of the peoples here. But even with all that pain and suffering that they carry around in their heart, they have so much aloha. And to me, that just blows me away. It just blows me away. And I just have so much respect for the people here. Sorry, I just got really emotional. That'll happen to me as I'm speaking, because as I'm speaking, I'm also channeling energy. And a lot of times it just comes right into my heart. I get like this divine wash of love into my heart. I just have to get used to it. That's what happens to me. And it takes my breath away. But that's how I know that I'm speaking through, it's coming through me, like the divine love is coming through me to share with you, and that I'm speaking truth. Yeah? That's how you know. You can feel it. And you will feel my heart. You'll know whether I'm authentic or not. And yeah, so I want to give a shout out to the people here that have suffered so much loss, yet they still carry the flame of aloha within their heart. I mean, those are the true warriors. Those that is the light that will heal the world. That is the medicine for the world. Those are the true warriors. And I know, because I know that I'm one of them. I know that I'm one of them. I've been to hell and back. I've been to the dark and back so many times. So many times. But I've never let it bring me down and snuff my light. I mean, it's close. Very, very close a couple of times. But oh, I've risen up to the top every time. And it's that light that has been beaten down so much, yet still has the ability, the will, and the power and the fortitude, the perseverance and the resilience to rise back up and still be kind and still be loving and still caring and still hold that aloha spirit in their heart and in their words and in their actions. That is the medicine that will heal this world. That is the medicine that will create our new heaven on earth. And that is what we need. That is it. That is more powerful than any dark force or entity that is trying to take our souls, is fighting for our souls, fighting for our humanness, fighting to take our freedom, our divine sovereignty. What we have is the value. We are the value, and we are the prize. And I couldn't have learned that if I didn't come here to this land. And so for me, this is my heart, this is my soul, and I don't owe. I know I don't owe, but I will forever be grateful for what I've received from this land, and I'm grateful for the aloha that people have given and shown me here. And yeah, this is definitely where my soul has felt safe to be, and I'm super grateful.